Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Chat with the Chief. As always, I'm your Chief Jared Mills, and today I'm here with the Director of Economic Development, Keith Luke.
Good morning, Jared. It's good to be here.
Glad to have you. And today, obviously, we want to talk about a very, very important topic, very timely as to what's going on. So far, we've been talking about the safety and our public health folks and fire department, EMS, police, but there's another part going on here with your division of economic development.
I think we all recognize that the health of our public safety and medical professionals is first and foremost in everyone's mind, but the health of our business community is important too, and we're well aware of that. There are a couple things that I'll talk about today regarding programs that can help, in particular, small businesses, and I'll give a quick update on where things stand at the federal level as well.
Yeah, that would be great because we've had so many changes even in the past week. There's federal programs, then we're hearing about things, money not there for folks and stuff like that. So yeah, if you could start out, just tell us what is there out for programs right now.
There's good news. There's good news and a little bad news, but I think there's reason for optimism. People need to be aware, small businesses need to be aware of two programs that are available to help them through the Federal Small Business Administration. The first is the PPP program, which is the Paycheck Protection Program. The second is the EIDL program. That's the Economic Injury Distress Loan. Last week, those programs came online and almost immediately ran out of money. The good news is that I think we're hours away from the federal government passing an extension, plugging a couple $100 billion more money into those programs, and I think they'll be up and running in the next few days. I'm very optimistic about that. For businesses that already have an application that has been approved through their local lender for the PPP program, I think they'll see that money coming through in just the next few days. I've spoken with Andrew Silsby. They got their first PPP loans approved by SBA early last week, and money started flowing into people's accounts, business accounts, at the end of the week, and more is almost certainly flowing now. So if you have been approved, that money's still going to come. I've also been made aware of a couple of local businesses that have had their EIDL money approved and deposited, or at least some portion of it. And that's a little different because that money comes directly from the SBA, where the PPP money comes through a local lender. The advice that I would give to businesses that haven't applied yet is that either now or in the very near future, they'll want to get an applicant. They'll want to reach out to a local lender who is participating in the SBA program, start a dialogue with a commercial lender. I'm always hopeful that they already have a relationship with a commercial lender or a bank that does their payroll processing, for example, that they have that customer relationship with. Don't try to understand these programs on your own. They're new, they're complicated. One of the things that has improved in just the last week and a half is that your local lenders have submitted and had early applications approved. That means they've gotten feedback from SBA administrators on what types of documentation they're willing to accept and what type they won't accept or what needs some clarification. In the early hours, and literally hours of both of these programs, there was no experience quotient. Your local lenders didn't have a lot of experience, or they didn't have any feedback. They've got feedback now, and they've got money flowing. They've got better answers to questions that applicants might have this week than they did a week and a half ago. So things are improving. They've also ramped up their capabilities. So again, if you are a business who needs money or interested in money to cover payroll over the next over the relatively short term, the PPP program is one that can help. That's 2.5 times your payroll for in a period up to 8 weeks. They can be converted into a grant if you follow program guidelines. If you struggle to follow program guidelines, that part that you can't document appropriately becomes a very low interest loan. And if there's money, there's no prepayment penalty. So if a business applies for more in aid than they either need or are comfortable with as this pandemic continues, there's no prepayment penalty. They can return money they don't need or aren't comfortable keeping on their own books. I think the other thing that will be of interest, in particular to entrepreneurs, we talk about gig economy employees, people who work for whether it's Uber or one of the meal delivery companies. The meal delivery company people are probably doing fine, but but others who may have taken their income, probably did take their income on 1099s as independent contractors or run their own business, they will want to evaluate whether the PPP program is right for them. At some point in the next few weeks, regular unemployment insurance may be the better alternative for them, may put more money in their pocket. Where the state is now regarding both unemployment insurance and the extended qualifications and benefits for independent contractors and those gig economy workers, the $600 federal supplement to unemployment insurance, I believe, is rolling out for regular unemployment. If you qualify under regular terms for unemployment, that $600 enhanced benefit starts flowing to those participants this week. The state needs a couple of more weeks to expand the program to these new beneficiaries. And when that happens, that has the potential to put a significant amount of money in these people who have been equally impacted by the pandemic restrictions. But it's a couple weeks out. That's the issue, and they can use that time to gather up the documentation that's going to ultimately be necessary. And if there is good news in this process, that the benefits are going to be paid retroactive to the date of functional unemployment. So, cold comfort for someone who needs money this week. But a sizable check coming in the next month seems like a reasonable proposition at this point.
Well, that makes sense. It seems like all the programs, as this pandemic evolves, if you will, the government's kind of catching up to folks. So we've talked about a lot. We've got the PPE program, and the best way it sounds like to access that is right through your local lender, a lender that you talked about for those who don't know how to access those programs. And then we have the unemployment insurance, which is another kind of a separate.
And people can't have both.
Right.
They need to apply for one or the other. The PPP through your local bank, we have a list. I've put together a list on our website. We've got a number of different resources outlined. Local main banks that are SBA qualified, and then many of our better known banks that are available. And if someone needs to reach out to me, I can connect them directly also.
And that's the huge point. We'll highlight that at the end is you're always here, right? This is, you're working your regular time and helping these businesses when they have questions. So on that note, what's happening at the local level that you're seeing? I know you're connected. What are you seeing?
Well, there's some certainly some interesting things happening. We put together a list of local food service restaurants, food service providers who are doing delivery, takeout, curbside takeout, and I think as this progressive, people or residents are setting into a pattern of taking advantage of the takeout and delivery options that are available to them. We've got a list on our website. I know there are others out there. The Chamber's done a lot of work in this regard. And what's gratifying to me, I live downtown. I live on Water Street, and I've got a great view of many of the front doors of some of our newly opened restaurants. The traffic or the activity that I see of goods and commerce flowing out of those businesses is deeply gratifying, not just for those of us involved in business development or municipal government, but for those restaurants as well. People have really been making an effort, and I think if local people get into a practice of what we used to have Wednesday as Prince Spaghetti Day, but maybe Wednesday is pizza night or Chinese food night, or you get something at State Lunch or one of the other restaurants that I mentioned State Lunch because they just opened literally right before this. But many of these restaurants look for a way to integrate them into your regular meal system and help keep them afloat. Also, I serve the Augusta Board of Trade. It's working with the Augusta Downtown Alliance, the Downtown Alliance and Gardner Main Street got together with Maine Development Foundation and in a matter of a few days put together a downtown assistance fund to help these small businesses that are struggling with small grants. I know they've issued a number of $3,000 grants to businesses in the local community the way I see it is provide bridge money between when these SBA type funds become available and where they are today. They've put together a program that can help small businesses. I think we'll get Michael in here later this week to talk more about that program.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So it's a lot of, like you said, how you put it was fitting that if there's anything positive out of that, there is a lot of activity on that front going on. And I'll say from a personal standpoint, I tried takeout twice this weekend, and it was the same thing. A lot of phone numbers or phone calls being busy for several, which is good, and that would be the thing, is to remind everybody to support these businesses. But I think locally that's happening, so that's a breath of fresh air as well. Anything else, Keith? I mean, the big thing is you're here for any of the businesses that need anything. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I think we've covered it. I'm here to take questions and give advice, and I'm monitoring the local lending. I've been trying to stay on top of when money is actually hitting the streets. If you are someone interested in whether it's a PPP program or the EIDL, I've got some good answers to questions that the people may have based on the applications of many local and regional businesses. There's a good network in my line of work. We're all talking about how these things are working out, and happy to talk to people. And we'll keep you in touch too.
Great, excellent. What would be a good way for folks to get a hold of you? What's your contact information?
626-2336 is my number locally, or my email address is keith.luke@augustamaine.gov, all on the city website.
Outstanding. Keith, thank you as always. Great information, and we'll see you next time.